Hi, everybody, and welcome to Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Brewers have a 3-game losing skid come to an end, and they head into an off day on Thursday with a record of 16-9. Better than we thought. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Brewers, great to have you along here. It's not a very good night in Milwaukee tonight after the Bucks got ousted in the first round of the playoffs by the Miami Heat. Poor Kane Pittman over on Locked On Bucks. He's got a handful to handle with tonight, but that leaves the Milwaukee Brewers right now as the sole team to watch here for the next several months. And the Brewers, I would say, are in a pretty good position. We'll talk about that. They're 16-9. They're a game out of first place heading into an off day on Thursday. They came back and they won and got the job done on Wednesday, 6-2 by fastball. Freddie did the job. We'll get to him in just a second here. Appreciate you just joining us. If you're just joining us, good to have you along for a first time. We're worldwide. I've heard from 15 different countries so far. 15 different countries have tuned into Locked On Brewers, and that is great to hear. And I enjoy it. Follow us on your favorite place to get podcasts. On Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter at Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND, you can see all the places where we are, and there's probably some additional places as well. Spotify, Apple, Google, just to name a couple. And there's a lot of them. I just put them on Twitter. Every time I release the video, release the audio, I list them all right there. And of course, we are on YouTube. Good to have you along. You see the script there if you're watching us on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND, the morning sports anchor for 1310 WIBA radio in Madison. Love working there for those guys in Madison in the morning. I'm also a reporter for AP Radio. I cover the Brewers on a national basis for them. So I've been covering the Brewers for well over 40 years. And like you, my favorite team is the Milwaukee Brewers. My favorite professional sports team is the Milwaukee Brewers, and I love them. I love the start that the Brewers have gotten off to. So anytime, please drop me a note on Twitter. Also on YouTube, subscribe, hit the little button there that's going to alert you every time we drop an episode, which is after every game. We're here after every game, dropping episodes. Hey, the Brewers are playing 162 games. Why can't I be here for 162 games? We're going to try to make that work, and looking forward to the weekend series with the Angels coming to town, with Shohei making his first visit to Milwaukee. That'll be great. Looking to probably be out there sitting in the stands Sunday for sure. Saturday night or Sunday. I haven't worked that out yet, but definitely going to be there this weekend to see the Angels in town. I love this, the way the expanded schedule is this year, because we're going to see all the teams in Major League Baseball, either home or road, and that's great. Why limit it? Remember when this interleague play first started, we could see like 9 teams from the American League in one year. This was like the mid-90s. And it was like when because the Brewers just switched over to the National League, and seeing the American League team was not that big of a deal. But initially, when the Brewers were the American League Central with Cleveland and that crew, when they played the St. Louis Cardinals or the Cubs, it was kind of a big deal back in the 90s. And then they switched over to the National League, the Brewers did. Bud did that for many different reasons we won't get into right here. But interleague, now it's not, interleague play, it's just everybody's all combined, right? There's American League, National League, and there's interleague play, but it's all the same. So the Brewers stepping out of National League play to play an American League team, it's no different, because we're all using the DH anyway, and we're all playing by the same rules. But the American League interleague play continues this weekend after playing Boston and then Detroit, and now you got the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or however they call it these days. They're always the Anaheim Angels to me, always the Anaheim Angels. That's what they are. So a team that pretty much nondescript. They got some stars in that team, but one of the Angels, when's the last time they've done anything? But the Brewers, 16-9, going into Thursday's off day. Fastball Freddie was on his game. A 6-2 win over Detroit stops that 3-game skid. Freddie Peralta has 3 quality starts this year, 8 strikeouts over 6 innings. He was really good. that velo has really been there for Freddie in the last couple of games, probably the last 3 or 4 games, I want to say. Maybe not that first game. Well, how many starts is this for Freddie? He's got 3 quality starts, but at least the last 3, that velo looks like that's maybe a tick up or 2. He was at 98 pitches today, and he looked great. I thought so, and the bullpen came over. Bryce Wilson, Council's starting to trust him more in high leverage spots, and maybe that's because of injuries. It can't because of it can't because of confidence in the guy, but Bryce was the second man out today. Hobie Milner, Peter Strzelecki, and then Devin Williams. I hate using Devin Williams in a non-save situation. I really do, just to get him some work. I feel like we waste him. And Devin's having a fantastic season. 4-run lead, using him in the 9th inning. That's not the time I really want to use him. But, the quote unquote, you got to get him some work in. It always feels like that with guys who are closers. It always comes a point where, well, you got to get him some work, so we got to throw him into a 10-run game. And then he gives up 4 runs. I'm not saying this was the case, but Devin, no problem, came in the 9th inning and shut things down. But yeah, 4-run game, you would like better spots to use him. And hopefully this weekend. But so far, Williams quietly having an all-star season after 3 or 4 weeks of the season so far, isn't he? But Brewers in this game got home runs. Victor Caratini got on the board, wore the cheese hat for the first time. Joey Wiemer homered for the first time since that first homestand 3 weeks ago, I want to say. Yeah, 3 weeks ago on a Wednesday, as a series against the Mets, Wiemer hit a 3-run homer. He has not homered since then. He hit one on Wednesday. I feel like Wiemer, he's been playing every day. His average is just right around the Mendoza line, but it was good to see him go Yahtzee along with Caratini, and the Brewers win. Rowdy Tellez had a 2-run double. His first hit in the homestand that was not a home run. He had been like 3 for 15, and then he hit a stinging 2-run double early in this game. And then Freddie was great, took care of the business the rest of the way, and the Brewers go on to the win and into an off day on Thursday. 16-9. Is this where we thought the Brewers were going to be at this point? Better than expected? Talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Going to talk to you about right now eBay Motors. And for that, I got to put my glasses on because I got to read the script here. So here we go. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure every part you need fits just right. The first time around, just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know that the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win with all the right parts guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right, Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Appreciate all you everydayers out there who are with us every day. I see you on Twitter. You tweet at me during games. I love it. Love it. I see your comments every day in YouTube. I look for them. I read them because I want to hear what the fans got to say. This is all about the fans. This is what this is all about here because I'm a fan too, even though I cover the team. But I want to know what you guys think. That's most important. I think the days of sports talk where people call into a radio station and just voice their opinions, it's changed. It's changed right now. It's texting, it's talking text lines, it's Twitter and all that, and that's the way we're doing it right here. It's just it's the way sports talk is these days. It's messaging. It's not getting on the phone and calling somebody. It's messaging, Twitter, and all that. So that's okay by me. Brewers play their next game coming up on Friday night, 7:10 Central at AmFam Field. Catch every pitch of Brewers' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Brewers. Always great. Anywhere you go, get the Brewers on SiriusXM. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. You everydayers out there, the Brewers, of course, their next game is coming up on Friday night, as mentioned, and we'll have that game covered. Take a quick drink here. A little lemonade. Yeah, I got a little sadness after that Bucks game tonight. There's no doubt about it. I had to little compose myself because I broke about 7 bobbleheads tonight after that game. Just disgusted, absolutely disgusted. But hey, I don't do Lockdown Bucks. That's Kane Pittman. Lockdown Brewers is my thing. And right now it's all attention on the Milwaukee Brewers. And let's get the box score. Let's see what's going on. Who did what today in the Brewers 6-2 win over Detroit. And, it wasn't the Sunday lineup. That's for sure. It was Sunday lineup. Counts used that on Monday night, the Sunday lineup. Christian Yelich went 0 for 3, 2 Ks, just terrible at the plate. He's down to 228. Jesse Winker went 0 for 2. Jesse has really cooled off after that hot start in the first couple series. In that road trip, we had clutch hit after clutch hit. He is down to 212. Willie Adames went 0 for 3. He's batting 247. Rowdy 1 for 4. The 2-run double. Struck out twice today. Brian Anderson 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Victor Caratini 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Bryce Terang, he is struggling. Bryce Terang went 0 for 4, down to 213. Mike Brasso got the start at third base today. He went 1 for 4, batting 231. Blake Perkins played some right field. He did not get a chance to bat. And Joey Wiemer moved that average to 227. He went 2 for 4 with the home run. He also struck out twice. But the pitching was the name of the game for the Milwaukee Brewers. Freddie Peralta is terrific. And without Brandon Woodruff in this rotation, they need Freddie to pitch like this. They need Freddie each and every game to give them 5, 6, 7 into the 8th inning if you can, depending on how much counsel will use him and the pitch count is. But, Freddie ran into 98 pitches. 98 pitches. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. They were unearned. Freddie had 8 Ks. This was a great performance from Freddie. But when you get Woodruff back and you have Burns and you have Peralta, those 3 going, that's as good of a 1-2-3 punch you're going to get in baseball. It is. So Freddie was on his mark. Bryce Wilson, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit. Hobie Milner, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit. Peter Strzelecki, 2/3 of an inning, did not give up a hit. And then Devin Williams worked the 9th on 9 pitches, harmless, 1 strikeout, 1 inning pitch in a Brewers win. Brewers did make a roster move today. Alex Claudio, we barely knew you. AAA. Claudio's going to find his way back up on this roster. Claudio's going to be with this. He's going to be with this franchise, I'm telling you, for 15 more years. If not the Brewers, he's going to be somewhere else, and he's going to come back, and he's going to go somewhere else, and he's going to come back. And before you know it, the 31-year-old Claudio is going to be 46, and he'll be like the mechanic, Tony Fossas out there, who just pitched and pitched and pitched and pitched. But Claudio got sent down to AAA. Tyson Milner got called up. He's a guy who's been with both the Cubs and Texas organization. Half of his big league starts so far have been starts. He's going to work out of the bullpen, but who knows? With the way the injuries have been happening with the Milwaukee Brewers, we may see him somewhere making a spot start down the line. But he was down at AAA. They called him up, and Claudio. But they're pretty high on Miller. I'm surprised they did not call him up earlier. When they were looking for relievers out of AAA, he had been pitching well. So this is 19 pitchers the Brewers have had on their roster so far. 19, and we're not even through the first month of the season. 19 pitchers have been rostered so far this year. Before the game, they honored Miguel Cabrera. Is there any doubt that guy's a Hall of Famer? Any doubt? I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer, 500 home runs, great career, winding it up on a lousy team in Detroit last few years. I get it, but they honored him before the game. They gave him a jacket, like a Harley jacket, a leather jacket, and a cheese head. You always wonder when you give away these prizes, when you give away these appreciation gifts to people, what do they really do with them? Now, if you give away a motorcycle, that's one thing. You give away a motorcycle or you give away a car, but like these, like a $100 leather jacket, or $400 or $500, whatever that is, $400 or $500 leather jacket they gave to Cabrera. What does he do with it? Does he wear it? I know I'd be wearing it, but I also don't have $300 million in the bank. So they gave him that. Does it wind up on eBay? Is that where it winds up? The cheesehead. Does the cheesehead make it all the way back to Detroit? Does he take it with him back on the charter flight to wherever they're headed next? And does it make it eventually back to Detroit for Miguel Cabrera? But that was cool. The Brewers honored him. Although surprised they did, because Cabrera's last couple of years of the American League, but hey, he's a great player. He's a first team, and he's always been great to deal with too. Always classy, win or lose, dealing with Cabrera in the locker room. So that was cool to see. Brewers at 16-9 going into the break. Kind of leveled off here. Got off to like a 15-6 record at one point in the season. We're going to talk about that coming up here in a little bit. Locked On Brewers brought to you by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want, or we react the way we do until we walk through or we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. Now, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. I've known people who've tried this. Give it a try. It is. Just fill out the brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. They'll do a great job doing that. You can always switch therapists anytime you want for no additional charges at all on this deal. So discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonmlb today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonmlb. And go ahead and do it. It'll be a great experience for you. They have got a nice offer there. All right, Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. We are the number one place on the internet to get your Brewer podcast, and I appreciate it. Thousands of people download us every day and also watch us on the YouTube channel. I appreciate that. I know we had some videos that stuttered and stammered early on, and that was because it was a bad computer, my bad, but I've invested in much better equipment now, and we will not have that problem going forward. So I appreciate you all hanging in there. I saw some of the comments and people mentioning to me on Twitter. Yes, and I always want to hear your criticism. You don't ever be shy of being afraid to message me on Twitter, whether the DMs are always open or whatever, because, hey, we want to make this perfect for you guys out there, and I like to think it is right now. Things are going good, and I appreciate all the interest that we have on this, and all you everydayers out there who listen to us every day. Our next Brewer game is coming up on Friday night. We'll be dropping after the game on Friday night. Catch every pitch of the Brewers, and taking on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, 7:10 coming up on Friday night. And you can catch every pitch of the Brewers hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Brewers. Are they better than we thought, the Milwaukee Brewers, at 16-9? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's some, like the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals cannot get out of their own way. They blew a lead on Tuesday night. I believe they came back and won tonight. Now they lost. Well, the Cardinals got beat again. Cardinals got to an early 2-0 lead, and San Francisco, who's not going to have a very good year, beat them. The Cardinals are 9-16, 8 games behind the Pirates, but more importantly, 7 games behind the Brewers. The Pirates did bounce back after having their 7-game skid ended yesterday. They bounced back and they won. They've won 8 of the last 10. They're 17-8, but the Brewers 16-9. Yeah, they're leveling off a little bit, but my gosh, coming back to win Wednesday was huge. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Coming back was huge because you didn't want to throw away that great start they had. And I always think of 1987 when I think of great starts that went right in the toilet. Like the Brewers got off to a 20-3 start in 1987. They won their first 13 games of the year, and they went on a 13-game losing streak in May. And by Memorial Day, they were like a game over the 500 mark or something like that. And they still went on to win like 90 games and had one of the best records in the American League and did not go to the postseason because the playoff structure was different back then. But that's what I think of. I always flash back to 87. Boy, they got off to that great start and frittered it away. Even like in 1990, they had a 90-loss year, but they got like a 15-7 record that year. Won on Patriots Day, like 18-0 in Boston, thinking, all right, Treb is going to lead this team to the American League East title. And by July, they're pretty much out of it. But the Brewers at the 16-9 right now. What did I say they were? And I just forgot here for a second. They are 16-9. Yeah, 16-9. They're battling through injuries. They're counting on guys that they didn't want to count on. Okay, Wiemer didn't even start the year on the roster. Now Tyrone Taylor was supposed to be a part of this team. They lost Garrett Anderson in center field. Yelich off to a terrible start in left field. Brian Anderson carried him early in the season, but he's leveled off a little bit. Willie Adames' on-base percentage is just fantastic. Bryce Terang has cooled off considerably, but still Double-A defense at second base. Rowdy, 8 home runs, has been fantastic with the long ball here in the last 2 weeks. Remember, he got off to a slow start of the season, but he has rallied back and put things together, and he's looking good. Catcher spot, William Contreras. Still don't know how they were able to sneak William Contreras out of that 3-team deal, but they got him, and he's looking good behind the plate, both defensively and offensively. Caratini gave him the home run on Wednesday, which was good to see. But they're battling through the injuries. They dodged a bullet when Corbin Burns didn't have to go on the injured list. Brandon Woodruff has not pitched in 2 weeks now. It has. 2 weeks ago, he could not make the start and had to miss his start because of the shoulder. So we're missing one of the best pitchers in baseball, and Brandon Woodruff is. You got Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. Those 3 guys right there are among the best in baseball as far as a combination. All right. And that's the strength of the team. You didn't see a real good Corbin Burns the other day, but Woodruff in his couple of starts was great. And Freddie has looked terrific in his last 3 starts. All of them gems, giving his team a chance to win. So, and out of the bullpen, the bullpen has had a few hiccups, but the bullpen has been, it seems like when the bullpen has maybe a couple of bad days, and they had a bad day Sunday, that's because they were counting on Matt Bush, who's now on the injured list. But, everybody not named Matt Bush has been great coming out of that bullpen. Even Bryce Wilson kind of holding on to his own. And you know how much trust I have in him, like 0. But even he is holding his own these days. So, and then Devin is an all-star so far. 3 weeks through the season. I don't believe it jinxes anyway. And some of you think I jinxed the Milwaukee Bucks by saying that the Miami Heat were done during Game 4. And I'm taking a beating on Twitter. But who cares? I care about the Milwaukee Brewers right now. And the Brewers are rolling right now. They got the 3 games coming up with the Angels this weekend. Wade Miley against Tyler Anderson on Friday night. Saturday night, Corbin Burns pitches after, again, his so-so performance. Maybe not even that good this past Sunday. And then Colin Ray will pitch. He will pitch on Sunday. Colin Ray hasn't been great, but we don't expect a lot of Colin Ray, a guy who is not a preferred guy on this roster to start the season anyway. All right, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for Locked On Brewers today. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy it. They're 16-9. They're 16-9. They're a game behind the Pirates, and the Pirates aren't winning this division. The Pirates are not winning this division. No way. Although I would love to have Brian Reynolds on the Milwaukee Brewers. Oh, God. Is there a guy in baseball you'd rather have? I mean, obviously there's a few. But Brian Reynolds, they signed to like an
It was like his 8-year, $108 million deal. God, I'd love to have him. There were some rumblings a few years ago that the Brewers were interested in trading for him. And I know the Brewers got a crowded outfield spot with these young guys, but I'll find a place to play Brian Reynolds. That guy gets a hit every time up. Mr. Clutch. Catch every pitch of Brewers baseball, every pitch of the Brewers hometown broadcast, SiriusXM app, search Brewers. Brewers play the Angels on Friday night, 7:10. Go to SiriusXM for that. All right, thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. Have yourself a great couple of days, everybody. We'll be talking to you after the game on Friday night. We'll be talking Brewers baseball as they start the first of a 3-game set. And by the way, Shohei Ohtani will not be pitching. I'm not saying he won't be playing. He just won't be pitching. His spot in the rotation did not come up this week against the Brewers, but we know the fans are going to be out there this weekend looking forward. And, of course, I'm looking forward to running the great fans either Saturday night or Sunday. I might go to both of them. Yeah, it might just be a Brewers weekend. So since the Bucks are done and all that, that's something off my plate I won't be covering. So maybe I'll be out there for both of those games. All right, everybody, we'll talk to you on Friday night after the game. I'm Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. So long.